This is Module 1. You're going to create an impactful demo reel. I've been reviewing reels for 10 years now. And here's what happens for a reviewer. Is an artist or a supervisor, and a stack of 10 to 20 reels is gonna land on his lap. And he's got to review all of them. And that comes on top of everything else he's got to do. So he doesn't have much time to dedicate to the reel review process. He may do that during lunchtime, or he may do that after work or in between two meetings. And so whenever he's gonna start watching a reel, if maybe after 20 seconds he's not convinced that you're going to be worth considering for the job position, then he may just stop and move on, because he's gonna think, yeah, it's not worth my time here, I've got better things to do. And so you lose his attention, you lose your opportunity. You don't want to do that. So you have to make an impact from the start. That is crucial. And just to give you an idea about like the volume of reels that companies are getting, big companies such as Framestore, DNEG, MPC, Sony, ILM, they're receiving hundreds of applications every week. That's literally the numbers. It is staggering. The amount of applications that are going to these companies is big. And so that's why like there's so much to review for everyone. So just make sure that yours has an impact, and that's and everything you put in there is good. So your demo reel, as I said, is going to be the centerpiece of your application. It's going to be like used in the interview process. People are going to refer to it, and that's a great way to demonstrate your skills and abilities. So you have to spend some time on it, it's when you're with your demo reel, you're making a statement. Everything you put in there is you have to be proud of. Essentially, like when you send out your reel to a company, you are actually telling them, this is my work, I'm proud of it, I think everything in there is awesome, and that represents me as an artist. So really, if you're not proud of something there, you think like, that could be better, then don't put it in there, because that people are going to judge you on that. So I'm going to talk about like two main things about the demo reel. The first one is editing. That's a crucial piece. And then I'm going to list you some rules that you have to follow to create a good one. So editing first. You have to put your best work only, as I said, and it has to be from the start. Don't save a nice shot for the end. It's not worth it. Just put everything at the start. And your first shot has to make an impact, really. And it has to be relevant for the job you're applying for too. We'll come to that later on the other modules. In terms of editing, do not feel like you have to group shots per project. If you're lucky enough to have already some experience on some work experience in the industry, and you've got some shots that are maybe several shots from the same project, don't feel like you have to group them in your reel. If you've got two awesome shots from two different projects, and you feel like, wow, these are the best, then put them at the start. Put them really at the front. And then you can like use the other shots behind as extra material, but really like don't feel like it's a constraint to you to group per project. You don't have also to put the shots per chronological order. You don't have to put the most recent work up front. It doesn't matter. If your best work is from 5 years ago, put it first, it's fine. Then a big one, the duration of your reel. You don't have I'm gonna phrase it that way rather. The best reel would be 45 seconds to a minute of awesome work. And that as a reviewer, that's all I need to actually figure out if someone is worth interviewing or not. So you don't want to reach like 2 minutes or 3 minutes of material, because what's going to happen is that you're going to put your best work up front, and then it's very likely that the work after that is going to be of a lesser quality, and you're going to lose some impact on your reel. You don't want to dilute the quality of your reel. And really, like 45 seconds to a minute of awesome work that's it, that's enough to demonstrate your abilities. You can always have a second reel. Like if you manage to land the interview, you can have a second longer reel if you feel like it, and you could present that during the interview. But honestly, like if you got the interview with your current reel, I'd say like that's enough. You don't need to show more. So yeah, remember 45 seconds to a minute. Now, maybe some of you don't feel like you don't even have 45 seconds, then do less. Like, don't feel like you have to put like everything you've done so far, even if it's not good, to reach a certain length. It's better to have some great work and make it short than have something that is not as good in there just to reach that 45 seconds or minute limit. Okay? So the last thing in editing is you're only as good as your worst piece. It means that whenever you're going to, if you put something that is not great in there, that shows that essentially the limit of your skills. That also, like as I said, has a bad effect on your statement, because you pretty much said when you sent your reel, all this work is awesome and worth considering. So when you put something that is not great in there, that's it. Like that's pretty much like that makes that gives an idea about the level that you have, about the skills level that you have. So don't put that piece that is average in there. Don't put that shot. Also, that's a big one, and it's really just up there for the reviewer. When they're going to see only good work in your reel, you're going to leave them with a sense of hope, with that's going to be a big hook, as in like, wow, everything I've seen in this reel is awesome. So you know what, like maybe there's even more. Maybe there's like, I actually want to know more about this artist, because yeah, it's like it was great, everything in there was great, but then as soon as I start lower the quality of the reel, maybe by adding a shot that is not as good, then the reviewer is going to figure out, okay, I've seen the best. There's nothing more as good as what I've seen here, because now everything else I've seen in the reel is of a lower quality, and I kind of get like the skill level of that person. So don't do that. Just leave them with a sense of hope, the big hook that's gonna like attract them and make them give you an interview. So that was it for the editing part. Now the other rules that you need to follow to get your reel like in a good spot. Labels. So as I said, reviewers don't have much time, and it's really useful for them to have a label at the bottom of each shot with a project title and a description of the task of the work that you've done in there. Keep it short, because really like your shots are going to be, the average in the industry is 90 frames per shot to maybe 120 frames. So it's not much time to actually like look at the shot and read the label. So this label make it simple. So title, project, and the short description should be just like 3 words. So as an example, if you're a lighter, you could just say I've done the character lighting. You could say character animation, or it could be matte painting in the background, this type of stuff. So just like 2 to 3 words, very simple and descriptive enough to actually understand what you have done in the shot. Don't put any music on your reel. It's a waste of your time. Like, you're going to be busy enough making sure that your reel is impactful. So don't waste your time with the music. Nobody's listening to the music, literally. Also, like, don't cut your reel to the music, to the beat of the music. You don't want to do that, because that means like you're going to lose some precious frames of all the nice work that you've done. Put the maximum length of your shots, of course, like if it's interesting. Don't feel like you have to cut some shots to just follow the beat of the music. Again, no music. The only caveat and exception to this rule is if you're an animator and you need to show that you've done some lip sync, so you've done some facial animation following a piece of dialogue, then of course you need the piece of dialogue in the demo reel. You should put only relevant work in your reel. That's another rule. So if you are applying for a job position that is maybe just FX artist, then don't put any compositing in there. If after you're doing your research, you know for sure that this FX position you're applying for is only, you're not going to be responsible for the compositing, and you've got some compositing experience, still don't put that in there in the demo reel. Because again, like, that's not really the worst piece of your work, but it's a statement of, hey, maybe the 20 seconds were FX work, and then the next 20 seconds are compositing, and that's it. Like, so I know as a reviewer, I've seen everything of your FX experience there. So don't do that. Again, you're only as good as your worst piece. Now, if you're applying for a position in a smaller company, and they would appreciate you to have some compositing skills, then of course, then add all of that in there. You could be an FX artist responsible for compositing his shot as well. It's that can happen. For example, the combo like lighting and compositing happens often. So that's again, like, put only the relevant work for the job position you're applying for. And then about the breakdowns. If you want to do a short breakdown, then so be it. So breakdown, I mean like before and after in a shot. It's fine. It's cool. Like, that shows like what you've done in the shot. But then make it short and sweet. As in, you don't want to use a breakdown as a filler in your reel. It's really important. Like, people are going to feel that, okay, this artist doesn't have much experience, and now he's trying to make a shot longer in his reel, so that he feels like he hopes that as a reviewer, I'm going to feel like he's done a lot. Don't do that. Everything you put in your reel has to have some value, it has to show your experience, but it's not about showing all the passes that you've rendered for a piece of CG. Yeah, people are not interested in seeing all your occlusion passes, specular passes, diffuse passes, and different smoke elements, like comped one by one, taking like ages to go through. So if you want to do a breakdown, keep it simple. I would say, like, for lighting and compositing, having a live plate free of any CG would be the start. Then second step would be a wireframe render of the piece of CG, then a raw render of the lighting pass, and then finally a final composited shot. That would be enough. And then don't linger on every single pass. Then finally, the breakdown sheet. So that is something that is really important. Whenever you make a demo reel, you need a breakdown sheet to go with it. It's an explanation. It's in your breakdown sheet. You need to put all the description of your work and the responsibilities you had for the work you've done there. So maybe you were responsible for creating the light rigs for the whole sequence on a group of shots. So that's something you want to state in there. And you want to be sure that it's everything you've done in your reel is clearly explained in there. Keep it short, keep it simple. And as we'll see in the other modules, this breakdown sheet is also an opportunity for you to shine and show your qualities. But we'll see that in another module. You need a breakdown sheet. If you submit a demo reel without a breakdown sheet, you just run the risk that it's gonna be kicked back, literally. And if your reel is not deemed good enough, they won't even bother you asking for that. They will just like disregard your application, and you may not even get a chance of providing the breakdown reel or knowing in the first place that you need one. So do that. Finally, if you feel like you don't have enough stuff, enough materials to show, and that's understandable as a VFX student, then you can always craft more. The caveat is you shouldn't wait to apply. If you feel like you need to craft more to apply for a job, then so be it. But when you do your scheduling for your next project, your next personal project or student project, then if you realize that it's going to take you 6 months to complete that project before you can apply, then do not wait. Use whatever you have right now and apply with it. Otherwise, like maybe for 6 months, you're going to miss on opportunities, and who knows? Maybe you can land that job with your current reel, with your current material. So do not wait too long. If it's a matter of putting some work in progress in your reel, then no, don't do it. Again, you have to be proud of your work. So don't feel like you're going to you have to apply quick because there's a new opportunity, that's a new job position that's being offered, but your reel is not finished or your project is not finished. Make sure it is looking great. Make sure everything you put in there you're proud of and it's looking awesome. So no work in progress in there, and don't wait too long to submit. So as an action for this module, I know it was a lot of information, so you can refer back to the points that are being provided, the list of points, to remind yourself everything. So I want to use all this advice to put your reel together. That's the main action of this module. The second thing I want you to do is to act the same way that we do in all the companies in the world. As artists, you're going to be asked to present your work and to get feedback. Do the same with your reel. Don't do it on your own. Do your first version, then show it to some friends, show it to some colleagues, and then ask for feedback. And you're going to get some feedback. Maybe ask someone in the industry, so it could be a mentor, and they're going to tell you some feedback on your reel, what you should include, what you should maybe omit, and then you go back to the drawing board and you integrate that feedback into your reel. And once you do that process several times until you feel like that's it, I've collected enough feedback, I've implemented that in my reel, now I feel like it's solid. And once you've done that, do your breakdown sheet. And that's it. You've got a great demo reel, make some impact, do your breakdown sheet, and then submit it. You're ready to apply. Well, with your breakdown sheet. I'll see you in the next module.